The central premise of this level, the titular Loopy Lights, are arguably the least interesting thing about it. It's like the love child of Stop and Go Station and Blackout Basement, but not nearly as memorable as either. That said, it's a damn fine level with a lot of character, just not where you expect to find it. This is part 37 of Overthinking Donkey Kong Country. As I mentioned, the theme of this level is the lights. Like Stop and Go Station, there are barrels you can hit, but instead of changing green to red, it just turns on the lights in the mineshaft. Thing is, without them, you can see well enough for it to not really hold you back at all. That's not to say this level isn't a challenge. The pink jumping claptraps dominate the first half of this level, and there's an impressive number and variety of enemies on the back end that include the yellow critter and a manky Kong at the top of a frustratingly long hill at the end of the level. The environment has its fair share of pits and platforms, and when you factor in the jumping enemies and the lighting, it can get a bit tricky at times. I know I sounded a bit critical earlier, but I adore this level. This and the one after are some of the most rewarding levels in the game. A lot of games peter out in the second half, but thankfully none of the Donkey Kong games do. In fact, I'd say some of the most memorable and rewarding stages in all the DK games come in their final moments. That includes DK64 all the way through to Tropical Freeze. That's kind of it for this level. I wish I had some good ideas to dive into, but try as I might, I can't really think of any that are that interesting. The stupid amount of pink claptraps made me think that maybe, before they were essentially cannon fodder in the conflict, they had some kind of purpose in the mining operation. Maybe they were sort of like the Kremlin equivalent of the canary in the coal mine. Or maybe they were scouts, sent into narrow tunnels to check for ore or something. Not only would that explain the abundance of claptraps in this level, but it could even explain why there's so many of them throughout the game in general. The lights don't tell me much. The presence of the barrel switches tells me that they're not simply malfunctioning. Maybe they were designed to be able to turn off and on, but I can't figure out why that'd be necessary. The closest thing I got was finding out about nystagmus, I don't know if I'm saying that right, an eye condition that affected coal miners, thought to be caused by long hours working in low light conditions. The gist of it is rapid involuntary eye movement, with a predominant symptom being the impression that static things are actually in motion. It sounds truly horrible. In fact, I went down a bit of a rabbit hole of occupational hazards the coal miners experienced, and it was really depressing. But yeah, I don't think I've got anything here. If nystagmus was the issue, then why make the lights automatically turn off? Maybe I missed something in my research about light exposure in intervals or something. I don't know, I'm at a loss. I've touched on the idea of levels as mood pieces before, and I think Loopy Lights falls into this category. In fact, I think much of Chimp Caverns does. It's not so much continuing a narrative as world building, helping to set a scene. Unlike something like Vulture Culture, the appeal of Loopy Lights isn't to cultivate an atmosphere and then let the player experience it, but instead to contribute to the bigger picture that is Chimp Caverns. It's got that Dark Souls thing of letting the player walk through a dying world long after it's burned out, and leaving them to wonder what could have been. We're done with Loopy Lights, and we're so close to the end now. I hope to have the next 2 episodes out fairly quickly, but after that I want to take a short break before wrapping up this series. There are some things I want to touch on before we get to K. Rool, and I want to make sure I get those episodes right. I think that's it for now. Thank you for watching part 37 of Overthinking Donkey Kong Country. And just in general, thanks for coming with me on this weird journey. There are people out there who watch every episode I put out, and that still blows my mind. I don't take it for granted. Be good, and I'll catch you in the next one.